The Vancouver Canucks have a ticking time bomb in their system. It's not a lack of talent on the wings, and it's definitely not a weak spot on defense. The problem is a gaping hole right down the middle, a severe shortage of elite, game changing center depth that could stop this team dead in its tracks. With Elias Pettersson as, of course, the bona fide number one, there is a growing concern after he has struggled to be the same 100-point player he was before signing that huge $11.6 million extension. I don't need to get into that. We already know. The organization is staring down a steep drop off, the kind of chasm that separates real contenders from the pretenders. Now, while the draft lottery will ultimately decide their fate, a very likely scenario sees the Canucks dropping down to third overall at a 55.7 to a 56.3% chance. And if that happens, the perfect solution is sitting right there for the taking. A player they just can't pass up on. His name is Caleb Malhotra. And in this scenario, he isn't just a good pick, he is the necessary one. Today, we're breaking down why passing on him would be a mistake the Canucks simply cannot afford to make. Now, let's be honest about where the Canucks really stand. The prospect pipeline, once a source of serious anxiety, has been methodically rebuilt on the back end. The defensive cupboard, it's not just stocked, it's overflowing with the likes of Z Bouillon joining a group that includes Tom Willander and the other Elias Pettersson, DPD. The blue line looks like a future strength. The system is healthy with other promising defenders like Kirill Kudryavtsev and Sawyer Minio who are developing well. That's a fantastic problem to have. It means the foundation is solid, but a house built on a rock-solid foundation with a flimsy frame is still going to eventually collapse. And right now, that flimsy frame is the center depth. It's a stark contrast to just a few years ago when Vancouver arguably had one of the best center groups in the league, boasting the likes of Pettersson, JT Miller, Bo Horvat at one point, and then even Elias Lindholm down the middle. Now, beyond Pettersson, what's a long-term plan? Teddy Blueger is a solid, reliable veteran, but he isn't the top six line driving force that this team needs to get to the next level. There is simply no one in the system who projects with any certainty to be a high-impact second-line center who can take some of the pressure off of Elias Pettersson. Now, the prospect pool tells the same story. While wingers like Jonathan Lekkerimäki show a ton of promise, the center position is alarmingly thin. Yes, the team has a promising piece in Braden Coots, as well as Atu Ratu, who is still developing, but there are still questions about their ultimate ceilings. Coots is one piece of the puzzle, but he isn't the entire answer on his own. Relying on just one or two prospects to fix a foundational issue is a massive gamble. The system needs more than just one guy. There's no sure thing coming, no one dominating in Europe or the AHL who looks ready to become a core piece down the middle. This isn't just a small crack in the armor, it's a fundamental weakness. Now, in a league where championships are built with a 1-2 punch at center, Vancouver is fighting with one hand tied behind its back. You can try to fill that hole with a risky free agent signing or a blockbuster trade, but that's an expensive gamble. The best way to build a true contender is, of course, through the draft. And in 2026, the draft is offering a golden opportunity to solve this exact problem. This is where Caleb Malhotra crashes the party, not just as a good player, but as a strategic necessity in a draft class that insiders are noting for its strength on defense and the wing. Malhotra is emerging as arguably the best natural center available. Early rankings have him consistently in the top 10, with many putting him in the top 5 simply because of how rare his skill set is. When you have a glaring weakness and the draft board presents a player who perfectly fits that need, that's a scenario GMs absolutely dream of. Now, Malhotra standing at 6'2" and already weighing in at around 190 pounds, Malhotra has the pro-ready frame that teams absolutely crave. He's not a long-term project. He's built to handle the grind of playing center at the next level. But it's what he's doing on the ice that's really setting him apart. Playing for the Brantford Bulldogs in the OHL, he's on a tear, putting up points at a clip that's turning heads across the league. His production is among the very best for this age group, showcasing an offensive upside that is hard to ignore. Now, he represents the perfect storm of drafting the best player available while also filling a desperate need for the Canucks. While top prospects like forwards Gavin McKenna and Ivar Stenberg are the names many expect to go 1 and 2, Malhotra is the logical and frankly the only choice for a team in Vancouver's position at third overall. His profile as a big, skilled two-way center with leadership chops and a winning pedigree makes him the single most valuable asset the Canucks could possibly add to their organization. He is, without a doubt, the solution. So, what really makes Caleb Malhotra the guy for Vancouver? Well, let's get into what makes this kid tick. Now, his game is built on a foundation of elite hockey IQ, legitimate play driving production, and a pro level 200-foot game that's years beyond his age. As the son of former Canuck and current Abbotsford head coach Manny Malhotra, Caleb plays with a level of detail and responsibility that's hardwired into his DNA. He's a player trusted in all situations who combines high-end vision on offense with a relentless commitment to defense. Now, we could spend this whole entire video breaking down his game tape, but I've already done that. If you want a full in-depth deep dive on what makes Caleb Malhotra such a special prospect, you guys can check out the prospect profile video I did on him right here on the channel. The bottom line is his combination of size, skill, smarts, and pro habits is exactly what teams look for in a future cornerstone center. On top of all that, he's a leader. He was named captain for Team CHL at the 2025 USA Prospects Challenge. You just couldn't script a better fit. Oh, and for a little sugar on top, he currently has 13 points in 6 playoff games for the Brantford Bulldogs currently. All right, now let's play the devil's advocate. No draft pick is ever a sure thing, and it's fair to look at the other options. At third overall, many have suggested the Canucks should draft a defenseman. For a long time, Keaton Vierhoff was the name most connected to Vancouver, but he seems to have tapered off a bit in the rankings. His position as the top defenseman has been challenged, and some now have names like Chase Reed and Carson Carrolls ranked ahead of him. But for the 2026 Vancouver Canucks, drafting another defenseman, whether it's Vierhoff, Reed, or Carrolls, would be like renovating the bathroom when the roof is leaking. The strength of the organization is on the blue line. Granted, it's a relatively young decor currently, but I would argue it's still a strength. The 5-alarm fire is at center. Drafting another defenseman would be a luxury, not a solution. So what about the other forwards? The 2026 draft class is looking relatively thin when it comes to true natural centers, which only makes Malhotra more valuable. You might hear names like Tynan Lawrence, but there have been questions about his consistency. Viggo Bjork is another center playing in Sweden, but his production hasn't always matched his ice time, making him a bit more of a risk, according to some. Now, when you stack Malhotra up against his peers, he stands out as the most complete projectable two-way center in the draft. Some scouts wonder if he has that explosive gear to be a 100-point per season guy, something his father never was. But the consensus is that his floor is an elite all-situations second-line center, which is exactly what the Canucks need. Any questions about his pace from earlier in the year have completely faded with every viewing, showing he's coachable and constantly improving. For a team as desperate for a center as Vancouver, he, in my opinion, is their guy. Look, building a champion isn't about luck. It's about recognizing pivotal moments and making sure smart, strategic decisions for the Vancouver Canucks in 2026. The path forward is crystal clear. Their defensive pipeline is strong. Their need for a top 6 center is critical, and Caleb Malhotra is right there. The single best player to fill that void. I know the Canucks have been bitten in the ass on drafting for positional need and in the past, but I just don't foresee that happening with Malhotra. I just don't. What we're arguing here is that he is both best player available and he fits that positional need. He brings size, skill, and an elite hockey mind. As we mentioned, brings a 200-foot game built on the kind of responsibility his dad taught him. He brings leadership and character with a direct connection to the Canucks as a little added bonus. Drafting him isn't just about adding a great prospect, it's about solving the single biggest problem that could hold this team back for the next decade, as we mentioned. Now, just imagine it, a complete replenishment of the team's center depth. You would have Elias Pettersson, hopefully he's better than he gets back to that point, leading the way, followed by a new wave of talent in Caleb Malhotra, an emerging Braden Coots, Marco Rossi. That isn't just filling a hole, it's building a foundation for a decade of contention. Passing on that chance would be a monumental mistake and failure by this organization. The choice is clear. The choice is necessary. The Canucks must draft Caleb Malhotra. But that's my take. What do you guys think? Is Malhotra the undisputed answer for the Vancouver Canucks at third overall if they drop down there? Or is there another prospect that you think they should be targeting? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. And on your way out, like the video, subscribe to The Line Change for more Canucks content, as well as some more draft content. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.